So is my husband. I think he hasn't texted yet to tell me he's there.
That's going to be a chilly game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, probably not a very good team.
Right, exactly right.
We're waiting just a minute. Okay, I would like to call to order the Monday, December 19th meeting of the City of Monona Finance and Personnel Committee. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Wood.
Here.
Alder Thomas is excused. Mayor O'Connor.
Here. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the December 5th meeting?
So moved.
I will second. Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. If there are no appearances, is that correct, Mark?
Correct.
There's no unfinished business. We're going to wait on item A under new business. We're waiting for someone to get on the Zoom call. Item 6B, consideration of ordinance 12-22-760, updating the fees, fines, and penalties schedule. Is there a motion to approve this?
I think that's all related to the other
Yeah, unfortunately,
Some of it, yeah.
special events ordinance.
it is. So a lot of it's all related. I can give you a rundown. But the
I mean, I'm fine. I'll move approval.
I'll second.
So each year we do an annual increase to update the fee schedule. Basically, our budgets are prepared based on these increases. So the budget was approved. Now we're coming to get the fee schedule approved. So on page 27, and Doug is also here if we need to talk about building fees. So there's major change. The main changes came in building permits. There's a memo that Doug prepared that talks about the increases on the various structures from residentials, remodeling, and so on for commercial too. Senior center, meal fees that was deleted due to new nutrition site. Fees for some classes were added. Public Works, there's some increases there. There's 4 kind of increases that are in the memo on page 27. And also in Parks and Rec, we also did in the pool, river rink increases, kayak and rental increases, park shelter rentals increases. And in special events, unfortunately, Missy's not here right now to talk about that, but that all relates to the new special event policy. So there is the schedule is attached with the different fees and what has been.
I had a question about the building permit fees. Is page 30 or page 31 what's proposed? They look the same, and one says it doesn't have a date on it. And
I can address that.
I'm sorry, Doug?
Sorry. Yes, I can address that. Page 30 that says City of Monona fee schedule is the current schedule as used by the city. And then page 31 is an example of the fees that GEC, General Engineering Company, the company that the city consults with, that they charge at other municipalities. So that was just an.
And that's as of January of 2020? So that's what they
Yes,
charge?
and that is
under-
their most recent schedule.
So you're just showing that for comparison purposes, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So then, in the schedule, we've raised some of these fees after looking at comparing to other communities and,
Correct. So GEC consults or works in over 300 municipalities in the state, and I've been hearing from the building inspector that as compared to some of the other municipalities that he works in, the fees were really beginning to fall behind. And so there are a few here that are adjustments, simply bringing closer in line with what is seen elsewhere, both in the county as well as across the state. Then there are some others that are more clarifications to itemize certain pieces, such as the a siding or new window permit. It would be $50 per item, for example, rather than at this point it's a little ambiguous. So just clarifying some of those. And then one of the main changes too is going to a area calculation, sort of a dollar value per square foot versus valuation, which is typically how it's done in the city at the moment, but not again in adjacent communities. So that is open to a little bit more, there can be some blurred lines, let's say, between those valuations and actual cost, whereas the area is a lot more defined and a lot more straightforward for the permit to be valued upon.
okay. Questions?
No, that makes sense. I mean, because my only question would be, are we raising them enough if we're only raising them up to what they were getting in 2020?
Yeah, good point. Do we have any information from them about more recent, or are these pretty much still?
These are the fees that they charge currently as well. So I've spoken with both Dave Martinson, the building inspector, but also with some senior folks over at GEC, and kind of spoke to them as I was fleshing out this proposal. And that is the typical number that any contractor that's working, in this area that certainly would be dealing with other GEC staff, these would be the numbers that they would expect. So I think this would bring us in line. Certainly as they maybe look to adjust moving forward, I think we could as well. But this was seen as a shift and a change, and so certainly of the proposals, certainly the residential is sort of on the lower end of what they're charging, just to kind of catch us up a little bit without going completely to the top end of the spectrum, and then the commercial was a little bit more of a finer tune adjustment, but certainly the residential. There's some clarifications there as well that, for example, the addition, rather than a complete new structure, the permit minimum is lower, such that folks that are just doing a small, let's say a bathroom addition or something, will not have to pay, meet the minimum value, whereas just lowering that value a little bit, again, separating these things out can help a little bit, just breaking out the permits, but making sure that, what is charged is fair.
Okay.
So do you want to vote on this, Doug, or do you
Sure,
wanna-
no.
It still has to go to council for.
Right, it wasn't really as integral, as related to the other thing as I was thinking. I mean, it's in there, but yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay. Well, if there's any other questions,
Nope.
if not, then all in favor say aye.
I
Aye. Motion passes. Any word from,
I just emailed her the link. She just asked.
Oh, you did. I emailed it. There she is. So she'll be up here. I like it this switched around, don't you?
you like it?
No, I'd rather have the,
Yeah, I keep looking over here, and
yeah.
although for Teresa, it's probably good.
You want both?
No, it's easier for us to see people, well, at least probably not for Doug.
We could do both, couldn't we?
If
Or
you do both for now, that'd be great. Because it's easier to look that way.
yeah, I keep.
Probably Doug, it's easier to look that way.
yeah, it's closer, but
Part of it is just I'm more in the habit. Okay, then Missy is here. Missy, you there?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, then we're going to move back up to item 6A, Consideration of ordinance 12-22-761, repealing Chapter 395, Article 2, and recreating as Chapter 384, special events and neighborhood block parties. Is there a motion to approve this?
Move to approve.
I will second.
Just so you know, before Missy started, we've been working on this thing probably for 2 or 3 years.
Oh, since
Yeah.
our previous administrator, before Brian, yeah.
So I think at least to get this in the here now, make adjustments if needed, I think this is a good starting point.
Yeah, I agree. It's time to get something on paper. So Missy, do you have some introductory remarks to make about this, or Bill, do you want to make them?
Sure, I can, unless you, Missy, if you want to take the lead.
I was going to defer to Leah on the ordinance change aspect, and I can talk more about the fee-related structures.
With respect to the ordinance, the intent here is to sort of bring our code into addressing what we're experiencing in the last 5 or 10 years here in Monona. The code, as it's currently drafted, is more geared toward sort of small residential neighborhood block parties. And over the years, last 10 or 15 years, we've seen an increasing number of large events, marathons coming through the city, dog walks, those sort of things that put a lot of stress on public works, park and recreation, that sort of thing. So this is an attempt to revise our ordinance to address all the other issues that are attendant with these large sort of gatherings, and to include fees to ensure that the city taxpayers aren't subsidizing all of these costs. Principally what we're looking at is defining what is a large event, and that's defined here in special event. It's one of several things. At the end of the day, it's really anything that closes a street that is not a block party. And a block party we define as something as only the invitees of that area within 1,000 feet on the street. Anything else is likely a special event. That's going to require, if they're a special event, a much more detailed application that's going to require them to disclose the anticipated number of attendees, hours of operation, lights, public address type things, that sort of thing. And if it's likely that more than 100 people are going to attend, then there are also requirements for crowd control and security plans to get the police involved, that sort of thing. Additionally, we're looking at requiring insurance and that they indemnify the city in case anybody gets harmed at one of the events, as well as requiring a deposit so that they'll be obligated under the permit to clean up the refuse in the parks and the shelters and that sort of thing. In the event that they don't do that, we'll have the deposit. The city can draw from the deposit to get that stuff cleaned up. Lastly, we also deal with barricades, traffic cones, that sort of stuff. Since we are the event would be closing public streets, there's the safety implications of that. So we're specific as to what type of cones, what type of barricades, and where they're to get those from. And again, also addressing the fee structure to take into account all of these costs that the city incurs, and make sure that it's the event organizers that are incurring those costs.
Missy, we did approve the fee structure to move it on to council, so we'll probably ask you to speak on it there, which we're going to take that up as the first item in the agenda. We've moved a few things around when we get to council. Okay? Unless,
Okay, thank you.
Doug, if you have any questions or for Missy, that's fine too.
No, I think it's a couple, I guess, for Bill. So is this the one that has License Review Commission involved? Or am I thinking of the
The short-term rental.
Short-term
yes,
rental.
I think.
I think you are. This ordinance would only implicate license review if there was alcohol that was going to be involved.
Okay, so that leads to my next question, I guess. Is it going to be like one big special event permit application that somebody would fill out that rather than having to do multiple But if they only need, like if it's, oh,
There's a shit show, and that's why she said.
I guess just an event that's in the park, well, they still need, if they're exclusively using the park, they'd need a permit. So that, I'm trying to think of
So
something where you'd only need like an alcohol permit. Do they have to go through the whole form?
Missy?
So we do have a one-stop shop application process currently that the fee structures would just need to be updated based off of tonight's conversation. There is a section specifically for event-by-event case that does need to go see a license review committee if their event is planning on serving alcohol, which then they do need to go through those steps with a lien and follow a proper protocol. So we do have the one-stop shop application with that folded in there currently.
So the current application that you have fits everything in this proposal that we're discussing right now, in this ordinance change?
Correct. We would be adding in some event scheduling fees, which is a fee we currently don't have, and then event-specific fee. Everything else has been in the current application in one form or another. Just the fees would have to get updated.
Okay.
I do have Leah on here if you have any questions.
Oh, okay. There was a reference to a preliminary application and I thought, wasn't
Right,
that
yep,
this?
and final. Yep.
Do you know what the difference in those is, Missy?
That I do not know the difference between the preliminary and the final. And my guess would be that Jake probably added in those event fee and event scheduling fee aspects. I know the current application that we had, we added some additional language in terms of refuse and garbage pickup because there was some miscommunication on the prior application, so we cleared that up some. So it may also have to do with that.
Bill?
I think a lot of the reason for the preliminary application is to address exactly what Doug just raised, is to sort of get a picture of what this type of event is going to be, dates, so that we can sort of lock in those dates, locations, what type of services are going to be needed. Are they blocking off public streets? Is there going to be a need for police involvement? Is there going to be a large group of people where security will be an issue or not? And then based on how they answer the preliminary, then they'll get routed to various components of the final application.
Okay.
Leah,
So-
did you have anything else to add about that, or?
No, I don't think so. I think part of Jake's intent is that this process, the application will sort of change from experience a little bit. So he, I think, just wants to get something started and out there and then revise it as needed with experience.
As long as you're here, Leah, can you explain how we're eliminating a whole part of the chapter? Right, isn't it for public works, how that works?
Yeah, so the original ordinance that we had on the books was a street use permit ordinance, and then several years ago we added a block party section to that code portion. And what we did with the special event permit ordinance is to basically eliminate the street use permit section of the code, because everything that had been in that section has been either incorporated into the special event section or is now incorporated into right-of-way permits. So, and we decided that we would create an entire new section of the code for special events because it really is sort of a standalone thing that warrants its own special section in the code. So we deleted and basically rewrote and incorporated into the special event permit, the street use section that was formerly in the code, and then we just moved the section that was for block parties to the special event permit section as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Doug, did you have another question?
Question or comment, I guess. So right now, when we have recurring, outfits that are doing a special event, well, the first time they come in, if they're selling alcohol, we do require them to come to the license review committee. Generally, after that, for repeat business, we don't. They can just be approved.
Each group does come back year to year at license review committee.
I think that's something where I can see it. The application does come through me as well, and
Yeah.
I can just sign off on it that they've already been to LRC, and it's okay to move forward.
Yeah, you mean in the following years, after
Yes,
we've done it
after
once,
the
and they
first
have-
year.
if there haven't been any problems, there's not really any point in making them come back to us. Unless it's really, usually they're pretty similar.
One question I had was under page 11, section A4, administrator designee shall deny issuance of a permit if the applicant has violated this ordinance or has had a special permit revoked within the preceding 12 months. I'm just wondering how that works in this initial year. I know we had a lot of issues at one event a few months ago, and I don't know if that event could say come back, be like all new with this new ordinance, or does any of this apply to them if they were to come back for this coming year?
That provision would apply. It's principally directed at somebody getting denied and then just turning around and submitting a new application and just continuing to take kicks at the cat type of thing. This, once they violated, they're sort of frozen for 12 months. To be frank, that's kind of a toothless tiger because most of these are limited liability company type things that they would probably just create a new limited liability company, but the intent is to stop people from continuing to just keep coming back.
If it's like an event that happens, even if they change their LLC, there'll be no the event.
Yeah, you know it's the same event.
Yeah, we could deem it as the same person, and they would fall within the 12 months if we can show that.
So that could potentially, I have no idea if this group is planning on coming back next, it's an early fall event next year. If they were to, and we had all these issues with them this past year, can we use the wording in here to do something?
Yes, if the
Get what I'm saying?
if the ordinance is passed prior to them coming back
Then it's
now,
applicable.
this would apply even though the violation occurred before this was adopted.
Okay. Doug, did you have?
Well, I guess I kind of wonder, I mean, they couldn't have violated this ordinance because it didn't exist.
That's what.
And I don't know
was
that
wondering.
there were any maybe there were citations written, I don't know. I just know it was an issue with not having an emergency evacuation plan and having people continuing to come to the event as it was a major thunderstorm.
Right, yeah, yeah. So I was just curious if.
I mean, but even if we couldn't specifically apply this, I mean, we aren't required to get amnesia either.
True.
I mean, we still,
Okay. Any other questions about this? Okay, well then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And it will go on to council. Thank you. We are not going to be discussing the closed session item tonight. We've decided that's going to be moved back to a future meeting. So that eliminates items C, D, and E. Next final item is acceptance of general funds accounts payable checks dated December 1st to the 15th, 2022. Documentation of invoices paid is available in the city clerk's office. Mark.
Sure. I'm just going to go quick through. A lot of it's just year-end stuff. Like on page 57, Badger Popcorn, concession supplies. A lot of that below deck concessions, the ice skating rink is open, so you'll see a lot of things that are kind of related to that below deck concessions. Page 58, Hamburg is for Cops Avenue dredging. That is completed as part of the capital plan. Page 59, MSA, professional services, towards the end. That is your master plan for St. Damiano.
Mark, sorry.
Sure.
Could you remind me what the Cops Avenue dredging project was?
I don't remember what it's actually for.
Was that related to the park?
No. I believe-
Something under the bridge.
There's some
under
kind of
the
a
bridge.
drainage ditch and
For
a
the
bridge there.
Yeah. Get clean. I can get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I should know.
Okay.
Page 62. I don't like to talk about bills here, but actually Burleson, page 62. I had already had it marked before I knew it was coming. to this meeting. Just so you know, there's a lot of it's because of the increases. There were a lot of redevelopment, which is charged to the TIFs, which is good. We do have a lot of general litigation. We have like 3 or 4 lawsuits going at one time that do add up for us. So they are protecting the city. We're doing the legal stuff for those. Page 63, Dane County Highway. Majority of that's for the Broadway, our cost share for the part of the Broadway project over by Southtown area. Page 66, North Central Ambulance, the chassis. We actually got the grant, so the in and an out for that same amount. Page 72, diesel Ford, E4, engine 4 repair for the fire, 7,100, almost 7,200. We've had a lot of repairs this year, more than usual, but they're expensive when they have to be repaired, those fire and EMS vehicles. Page 73, Kilgus, just kind of shows how much the quarterly maintenance charges are. Okay.
Hey, Mark, it says
Oh.
it says the meeting was ended by the host.
I must have hit the, darn it. Well, it's down. I don't know, I'll get back in
Well, we're just about done.
a second. Yeah,
Yeah. But, yeah, that's good.
and that's all I had to add.
Any other questions about the
Nope.
bills? All in favor of,
We don't have a motion. I'll move.
sorry, is there a motion to accept the bills?
Yes.
I will second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Must have hit the-
Opposed? I say
Okay.
aye also. Motion passes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.